Okay, 6:31, meeting called to order. Approval of the agenda may be amended. Do you have any amendments, Mike?
I don't. I know PEG TV came to me a couple weeks ago interested in being at a meeting, and I thought maybe it would be at this one, but I haven't heard back from them. They're interested in, I'll just put it on your radar, I don't think it needs to be a topic for discussion tonight unless the board would like to talk about it. The PEG TV would like to do like a stationary equipment setup in here, so it would stay forever. It'd be like cameras on the wall. I can wait.
The
Only problem I would see,
about a year ago.
the only problem I would see with that is when we go into executive session.
Yeah, or anything, you know, if we're
Anything
having
of-
some kind of meeting.
That's the only problem I see, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we'd be better off letting them present to us and
Okay.
discussing what they have to say.
Do that, okay, so just everyone's radar, I'll see if PEG TV can be here next week and give you the down low.
Cool. Great.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda is written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes.
Select board minutes. July 15th.
We got July 8th first.
Yeah, Linda added a few to the packet later in the evening. Printer
Okay.
wasn't working.
I don't see anything.
July 8th.
July 8th, nothing here crazy.
Nope.
Make a motion, approve minutes for July 8th. First, for the emergency select board meeting we had on July 8th at 3 o'clock. And that was it was an executive session to deal with ongoing project with TIF.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
The next one, Jim, is a regular meeting on July 8th at a regular 6:30 meeting, and there's nothing there.
Yep, I read through it, looked good to
I
me.
read that
Yep.
on my screen. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Then we go to the 15th.
Now we go to the 15th. Motion to accept the minutes of July 15th,
So moved.
5 p.m. meeting.
And,
Aye.
All in favor, aye.
all right.
I'll just say quickly, we started an AI companion on Zoom.
Oh, really?
And it's like word for word. Even summarizes what the meeting was about.
Oh, really? That's great. Oh, that's
Wow, we
good.
got
We don't just use them.
Yeah.
Copy and paste, but
Yeah.
it's a good.
But it's a good start. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Use technology, yeah.
Oh, I got a couple.
Next up, we got selectmen's concerns, if any.
I do not have any.
Nope, I have nothing at this time.
I'm just gonna throw out a couple of things that I've been hearing or whatever. And, yeah, why did we open up the road the other day? It needed to open up for ambulance, the buses, the trucks. It's about 4 more weeks that it's going to be being worked on. And it's another 4 weeks of heavy trucks, buses, fire trucks, ambulances going up and down West Hill Road. We decided to open up the road. Those are the people in the community that think that it's too rough. West Hill Road is still open
That's what I also
for
said.
them to
Yep.
use. Why did we have a ribbon cutting? Because we opened up the road. We wanted to get the word out there that it was being opened up. That way the bus, the ambulance, and everyone else would get word of it instead of driving by and not really seeing it completed yet. Why is it not completed yet? I heard earlier tonight, well, this recording is going on, whatever. There are many things that slow down the project. Number one, the town working with the easement. Number 2, working with one of the wetlands, I believe, Michael, that came into place. That we just got the wetlands about 3 weeks ago approved by the state of Vermont. It took longer than we thought, so Murkowski had to hold back and not rip up that top blacktop area on the west side of the road up north, which anybody that was going and watching last Thursday and Friday, you would see that they just started ripping up that last 200 feet there. So, you know, I think we've got great progress going forward on this project. And, you know, hopefully we get enough traffic that's, the big traffic staying off of West Hill Road. I know myself, I'll continue to use West Hill Road, but it does really free up a lot for the big trucks and the buses and the ambulance and the fire. So.
Am I allowed to say something?
That's all I got to say there. So, Chris and Rob, do you have anything that you want to say? Or
No, just in terms of the road itself, I've heard nothing, but many roads go under construction and end up in that type of form. We were fortunate we had an alternate route that we could close it off and allow them to actually get the work done sooner than trying to dance around keeping a pathway open. So I think that they're moving along in a good case, and there's nothing wrong with driving over, you know, literally, you know, a couple thousand feet.
And I had the same thing. It was, I said it was just a good option, right? So now it's open, and you can use it or you cannot use it. I mean, I will use it because of where I live.
Yeah.
So it's been a real good option for me, so.
And
Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. I mean, I live close to West Hill Road.
Yeah,
So I just-
yeah, so you do that anyway, yeah.
I do that pretty much anytime, anyway. So, you know, the road will be closed again, August 12th, the week of August 12th, for the pavement and the striping. And we will have another opening. One of the other reasons why we're having two, is that there is a lot of vacation times, and we wanted some of the senators and the House reps to be able to show up, and some people from the state that would not be able to make it for the August 19th ribbon cutting of the whole road.
Great.
But I know Abby's working on, like, the governor and others for that one where it's completely open, so.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
we kind of worked it out that way. So that's enough of there. As we go to citizens input, open to the public. Chris, you want to take?
I do have some safety concerns with the road. I took it up there today, and there's no kind of, I'll say cones down the middle, if it's 20 or 30 or 40 feet, just, you have this open space. And when I was driving up, a paver pulled out into the road with no flag person. So, and it's very dusty, and they should water it down. So the last thing we want is a accident or a fatality of a worker. So something should be done to have a line down the middle. And if trucks are coming in and out of the roadway, there should be a flag person there.
Okay, we'll pass that on to the
Yeah, it's good feedback
contractor,
there,
Michael.
Yeah.
Who is the project manager for the town running that? Is there one, or just the GC's doing it?
We put it on VHB. We will approach Markowski in the morning.
Yes, sir. Oh, Mike Miller has a comment from the audience.
Just a question, I couldn't help when I was driving up, I noticed all the telephone poles. Wouldn't this be a great opportunity to start to go underground with power?
Can we repeat that question, Michael?
Yeah, he just is questioning why we didn't look to go underground. We did speak to Underground Power, and just the study alone to think about it was $300,000 to bury it up the road. And it is,
We've been talking about burying the power now for 2 years when it first came up. Chris can get more into detail about how high the power is that's going all the way up to the top. The first discussions were $30 million. First, I think it was $340,000 to do the study, to get the plans put in place for all the architect work and what we have to do there. And and the estimate was $30 million after that.
Also good.
We could put it to a vote.
So that's what we just got.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
We could put it to a vote for next year in March, and see if the taxpayers would like to take out a $30 million note over 20 to 30 years. But at the time last year, we didn't think that was feasible for the taxpayers.
Yeah, it's,
But if we get enough.
That's for the whole road though, right? Because we've been
that was
talking
for the
about it
whole road,
for
and
years.
that was for, it was, call it 300,000 just for the study, okay? And that, and that 30 million was not, it was just a drop. They weren't even gonna.
Yeah, it's not a hard number.
It wasn't a hard number.
And I know there's gonna be complications, more wetlands is a good part of it.
But that was only Green Mountain Power. We haven't talked about the communication lines that are all up there as well, and so the number just got to be, was gonna be astronomical. Just the piece going up from the substation, going up to Snowshed, up into K1, there are 24 6-inch pipes that have to go in the ground to put that power in right through there. And we haven't hit communication or anything like that, so it's a lot. So, I would
But
agree with you.
we could throw in that by moving the power lines over to the west side of the road, Green Mountain Power worked with VHB, that if anybody in the future would like to bury power, it's all set up on the east side of the road to run the power from Route 4, at least now up to Anthony Way, if anyone has any appetite for that and a tax increase.
Patrick Cushing has his hand up.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Yeah, mine was addressed with the safety on the access road there. Just to piggyback off that, the one thing that stood out, or two things, the center line divide kind of threw a lot of red flags for me. And then if you could look at maybe putting some signage at the bottom. I know there was one instance where someone came down to that, what seems to be the right turn lane, and thought that that was the you go left from their lane. And if not for the person driving in the you go left lane, they would have collided if they didn't see the person. So just some signage at the bottom is another thing to look at as long as you're doing the lane divide and stuff. Because it seems, again, it's a safety risk. That's all.
I'd agree, we'll just
I know
bring it
you
up,
addressed
bring it up to Markowski.
Thank you.
Good comment.
That we had concerns about it. Anything else?
Board of Liquor Control?
Oh, we got
Oh,
one
hang on.
hand.
One more hand.
Hi, my name is John Saracibona. We attended the meeting last week, 1199 Thunderbrook Road. We had extensive conversation about the work done on Thunderbrook Road, having written a letter to the town and the select board about our concerns. We have since now come back and looked at it in situ, and we have some questions about where things stand, where this is going. Could you let us know what the process is of the tree damage and litter thrown into the woods, and what's going to be done with those?
So we went into executive session the other night, last Monday night. We have given instructions to the foreman, the public works director, and the town manager. We're going back into executive session afterwards to find out. There is a right-of-way that goes through there. I did take a ride and saw that some of the trees are damaged, but I'll hold my words until I find out what's going on an executive session. We gave them what we were looking for.
I need to get up to speed. I was out of the country last week, so
Okay.
I was not present.
So driving on the road, there's some abrupt changes in the line of the road, where suddenly the road just disappears and falls off. So you have a little wide area, and then there's a abrupt drop off, which seems to a casual driver quite concerning. And we know it now because we have to look for everything as you go down that road. So I'd like to bring that to your attention as well. If you drive it, we would really appreciate you taking a look at it.
100%. Agreed.
Okay. And then there's noticeable erosion occurring already. So the work around our property in particular has only been done less than, well, let's call it 2 to 3 weeks. And so that erosion is undermining the width of the road, plus going into the drainage ditches. And that should be looked at as well, particularly obviously on our side, either side of our culvert, but also on the hairpin turn just below our property down by the bridge. The road is starting to become even more narrow. And then we have some thoughts about how to mediate our culvert. And Abby had promised my wife that she'd look at it and work would be done to help that. We have some thoughts with actually bringing up more riprap, which I'm against as a look for that whole road, but we know that that's a done deal. And bring it up a little bit more on the roadside, just so that it'll mitigate the erosion on those edges. And then also build a little bit up above on either side of the ends of the culvert, and then backfill with the compacted material to bring that up. So our road entry to our driveway isn't quite so narrow and precarious.
I would just personally, just comment, I would probably like to get caught up to speed through executive session first, and then, but first of all, I would like to tour it, and I just think that we should all go out there and probably look at it. I just need to first get caught up personally.
But we'd be happy to meet you at our property tomorrow.
It's,
If it's possible.
yeah, I'm surely willing to, but let me find out first really what transpired.
Yeah, we can probably, if you want to go up there, we can have a representative join too,
Yeah.
from staff.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
can coordinate it.
Or just to look to explain the condition, we don't want to make promises you can't keep. I think when at our meeting originally with the town, they were making promises that might not have been appropriate, and we warned them of that. So it'd be great if you could look at it, and you don't even have to comment on it. We would just like to see.
I made comments.
No, it's up to you. I'm not going to hold you. I just think
okay.
you need to understand the concern.
I
And
would
the,
like to show you.
yeah, and the actually easy
concerns are.
remediation, at least bring our area up to a serviceable drive.
I don't, but just on the top of it, I have not seen anything, like I said, but I don't disagree with you about the ditch stone, but unfortunately, we're having such heavy rains that we have to use that to retain the roads, and so
Sure.
that we're not getting great washout, and have things happen like we did in Killington East. But again, having unseen it, I would just like to personally go out there and view
Yeah,
it.
understood. Thank you.
So Chris, Rob and I went into executive session last week with Michael Ramsey and with Abby Sherman.
Yep.
And we gave a certain amount of things, and we'd like to go back in after this. And I will be back Wednesday night.
Okay.
And I think it would be great, once we have all that information, that we set up something and, take a little tour, the three of us with Abby and Michael.
Oh, yeah, with
Great.
with Abby, I'd like to make sure we do.
Sure,
Yeah,
100%. Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Sorry it's taking a while, on the Ring Brook Road, folks, but this is, we don't really meet during the week with each other.
I have a
I have a question too.
Yep, Michael.
Yeah, just quickly, we met, and what happened since then is the riprap along the Sayre property. I would like to ask if we could do that at my property, put that in to level that off and to the mailbox, if that would be appropriate. Otherwise, we've got other issues, but I think that would just be a simple.
Yeah, let's get caught up, and then and myself, and then we'll figure it out, for sure.
So will you send out a letter for the official meeting? How would we go about that?
Well, for all of us to get together, we have to warn it, and we'll do it, but yeah, we'll definitely let them.
I've got everybody's email.
Yeah. So we'll just let them all know,
Yeah.
and we'll,
We can do that. You'll leave.
Chris,
I'll
I'd like
I'll
to be a
leave.
part of that too.
Yeah, sure.
I'm on 90 Thundering Brook Road.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with this problem, way before Thundering Brook started the big ditch. And last fall and everything, I came home one day I own from all the way from Route 4, up clean down to Mountain Meadows.
Yeah.
I came home, the ditch was unbelievable, and I brought it to attention to the town. And before Pepe and other people walking down the road, we had a place to get off in the blacktop, and they walk along my lawn. I receive all the water off in Route 4 coming down Thunder Brook Road. It jets into my property, and then years ago, 10 years ago, I accepted that and I made drainage to go all around. Well, now they've taken so much ditch out of there last fall and everything, brought it to their attention, and they just kept coming up the road where now I had no place to put my mailbox. When, as hard as it might rain, that grass I would maintain and mow, the grass would be standing up straight. To me, that was such overkill. Now, nobody has any place to go. Not only that, I have a neighbor in between me, and then from there, he went and complained to the town his culvert was plugged. And all he had to do was make a contribution to the fire department, and they would have flushed it out. There was nothing wrong with the property. I accept all the water in supposedly my wetlands. And at the same time, the town took my whole property, which is called an apron, to my property there. It's all gone. I'm receiving 4 tributes of water from the Killington access road all the way down to the News place. All the water that's coming off from the whole construction sites, not only construction site, years ago, this has been going on for a long time. I'm getting all the stuff right in front of Mike's house is a huge culvert there. And all that, you can go down there and look right now, and you'll see over the period of time, it's sand and whatever.
Yeah.
So my idea would be, and I spoke to our good new town manager, and was to that this would be a good spot. If we're receiving all the water and silt and everything, that right there with the culvert, it would be a good place to take and remove the silt and everything, whatever we have to do. So I'm not always receiving down the whole road, all the way down through. That was all farmland at one time. Yeah, it's wetlands now, between the beavers and the silt and everything over the years. In other words, my water's even, the water I'm receiving comes all the way from the woods development. If you drive around, you look at the tributes, you see everything comes to that one point. And it crosses my property 4 times throughout that wet property, so, yeah, the
Obviously, I
beavers
think
and
we need to get
everything.
out there and we need to look at it. I mean,
Yeah, I kind
the
of,
entire neighborhood's here. And not thrilled, okay, obviously we gotta do something. So we'll get together and we'll figure out what we got to do, you know, make it so that all parties are right. And the town crew feels good about the road and you guys feel good about what you have. That's all. That's my opinion.
So if possible, we'll be back next week. So anytime you all set this.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Notified, then we would be happy.
Yeah, and we should,
Yeah,
you
they're out of
know,
town.
we should work it in for everyone's schedule, so we can do it. That's all.
Thank you.
You guys are out of town next week?
No, we're
No,
back.
he's back in.
Back
We
next
came
week?
here today for this meeting. So we'll be back on Saturday.
Got it.
Does that make sense to you, Jim?
It makes sense, let's just, if we get into executive session later on, then we can put out tomorrow to everybody on Thunder Brook Road.
Yeah.
Make sure Michael has your email addresses, and the board, and we can send emails. The board can only say what days are available. We can't get into any conversation with an email between the 3 of us, other than we're available for a certain time.
Okay. Works.
Chris, if I get a minute, can I just interject here?
Sure.
I'm not sure what I missed on this whole Thundering Brook Road scenario, but, you
Can you
know,
say what your name is?
Andrew McKenna.
Andrew McKenna.
Yeah. You know, the road needed some work, but unfortunately, what's transpired has taken like a beautiful scenic byway of our town, probably one of the most beautiful roads we have, and it's not that anymore. It's dangerous, unappealing to the eye. It's 14 feet wide in sections. Some of the culverts that were dug are like vertical, sheer, straight cliff walls. They're only going to erode faster with grass seed in them as opposed to natural woodland fawn, you know, growing up and holding the bank. I would be concerned moving forward on other road projects that we don't end up in a similar scenario looking like what that road looks like, because it's pretty unfortunate.
it's a real eyesore. The
Yeah.
most beautiful house, just past Kent Dam, was a postcard. It is not today.
Yeah, I mean, all the old growth trees that are marred, those roots are going to fall over in the first heavy snow, ice storm we have. They're not long for the earth, they're 100-year-old trees. You've got old growth, or, century-old stone walls that have been like dug right up to, it just, I don't know, I wouldn't have done it that way. So it's unfortunate.
They disturbed the whole
Okay,
water.
so can we just make sure we have everybody's email addresses, Michael?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there any other public comment? Hearing none. Board of Electric Control, is there anything to that?
No, sir. No
There's
board
no
of
Board of
electric
Electric Control?
Nope.
Hearing no Board of Electric Control?
Good to see you both.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to
Do we have
stick
to
around.
close?
See you then.
Close, do you understand, Michael?
Sure. Abby, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So I got Kevin here too. We received 4 quotes. All were provided to the board. We received one from Casella Construction, delivering half-inch sand, 4,480 tons. Total cost, sand and trucking, gosh, I can't read numbers tonight. $88,972.80. A bid from, or a quote from Rock Landscaping, $119,974.40. And a quote from
Troy Minerals.
Troy Minerals, also known as Wallingford Crushed Stone, for $8,584.
87,000.
80.
It's okay.
That's been
Been a long day.
been a deal.
$87,584. And then Andrew McKenna bid. Yes, God.
Gita.
Gita.
Andrew Gita.
Yeah.
I should let you read these. Gave us a quote for just trucking the sand, $48,060. That does not include the cost of the sand.
Sand.
Okay,
So Abby, I'm looking at the quotes, and in the quotes, for, let's say, in stone, it says A, sand delivered, okay, and it says 3,200 cubic
Yards.
yard, at 1,302 per cubic yard. Is he quoting? I mean, that's sand delivered.
So there is an email communication attached to that because he had included an estimate and noted that it was, that the town is to purchase the sand directly and he would truck it. So I
Yeah, okay,
clarified with him that it was just for delivery.
Okay.
And I gave him
So-
an opportunity
The
to
R-
revise, but he
The
didn't.
RFP was put out, Abby,
Yes,
for sand and delivered.
yes, for supply and delivery of winter sand.
Okay, so unfortunately for the 2 local, Rock Landscaping and Instone, they're both only trucking.
Well, Rock
Rockin'
Landscape,
did include,
yeah, they did submit a revised, they submitted 2, one just for trucking the sand for $49,500, and then the cost of the sand and trucking, $119,974.40. So quite a bit higher
Okay.
than Casella and
Troy Minerals.
Troy
So
Minerals.
Wallingford and Casella are within about $1,500 of each.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a difference in the sand, Kevin?
Yes, there is. So Casella's is your washed brown sand. So it's got a lot of fines in it. Plus they add a lot of salt as well. So it's going to create a lot of mud issues compared to Wallingford's manufactured sand. That's the main difference between the two, is Wallingford's manufactured and then Casella's is washed.
Okay, and the lower bid at this point is Wallingford?
Yes.
The
And that is the
Wallingford.
preferred- That is the preferred one that the town highway.
currently have that right now.
Yes, yeah, it's currently what we use and
The
have been using
Wallingford
for years.
Is, I use that too. It's better grit
Yeah.
with versus the sands, the wash sand, which actually allows growth. This is more of a stone product.
Yeah.
And I think it is better traction too. That's just me personally too.
And that's
And I
what we're
know-
using it for.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
resort's using it as well.
Yep, the resort uses that as well, and a bunch of other contractors up here too.
It goes through machinery easier.
So can I get a motion to accept the winning bid of Wallingford?
Motion?
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's a little above our budgeted amount for sand this year, so we'll just keep that in mind.
What were we budgeted
About
at?
70,000.
I was gonna kick on, that, it was $70,000 that we put in our budget, Michael,
Yeah, yeah,
but we don't put in for our truck drivers.
that's right, yeah.
And we
We
don't
don't
put
put in for the wear and tear on the
the
truck.
vehicles,
Right.
everything
Right.
else. I think we're,
So it's about $15,000 more this way,
Yeah.
just for the sand to be delivered, but we're not beating our trucks up, we're not spending diesel fuel, and we're not paying an employee to go on back and forth, and they have more time to do things on the road. I think Kevin would love that.
you would agree with that?
I would agree.
You know, I think we're taking more than $15,000 a year worth of wear and tear on our trucks and diesel.
Just the tires alone, I mean, we're probably 20,000 between the 4 tandems.
Do we change that in budgeting, though? Would we adjust that the following year? How does that work?
can.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if we know that we're gonna
Always
contract
outsource,
out,
yeah, okay.
we can adjust.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we'll be saving on that side there, Michael.
Yeah, it'll be reflected in diesel,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly, yeah, you should see that
Yeah.
come out. Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Good. Next.
Okay, so that's completed. Next up on the left on the list is Route 4 Town Hall bid
Yeah,
for the downstairs construction.
Just one?
yeah, just one bid. We may wanna,
Let's push that into executive session.
I-
This is the contract.
yeah, I think
First
that's a good idea.
Yep, I would agree.
thing. Department reports, the treasurer's report. That's at the end of June.
Lucretia, I think Lucretia's online, so if she wants to speak towards the treasurer's report, I'll let her go for it.
See her?
She's probably on mute.
Go ahead, Lucretia.
She's throwing us around.
Oof.
She's moving around.
No?
Can't hear her though.
No, can't get you. Ain't got you. No, okay. Hold on.
Guess she doesn't want to speak to it.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report
Well, I don't know, I mean,
for year end?
Look at
Would it be
for a second.
worthwhile wait till we can
Yeah,
hear from her?
No context?
maybe she's gonna reconnect.
Yeah, maybe.
So we can make a motion, we could have questions before she gets
Oh,
on.
now they're in the waiting room.
Oh, let me
She must
find her.
have disconnected,
Let me find her.
reconnected.
I did let her in, yeah, okay.
She back in?
She's working it. Okay,
Oh, there she is.
we can see her.
Can you hear us?
Okay, yeah,
Hey.
sorry. I was on my phone,
We got you.
And I could not get the speaker to work, so I apologize. So, June treasurer's report, I mean, not looking so good, just saying. But tax money is starting to come in for sure. As you can see, we, June with just 1.5 million. And we have almost 3.5 in restricted funds. So,
I'll speak more towards that and when we get to the comparative.
Well, first, can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Sure. Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
All right, so, yeah, I mean, that's where I was gonna go. The $3.4 million is supposed to be in restricted funds, and $64,000 owed to the restricted funds. So I guess that $64,000 is part of the balance of the restricted funds, just not there. So $3.4 million, and we only had $1.5 million in the bank at the end of June. So we were about $1.9 million short. Michael, we have about $5 million, or Abby, we have about $4 or $5 million out to FEMA work that's already been done, is that correct?
I would
Abby?
say it's closer to about $1 million.
That's still owed to us?
Yes. There are other projects that we haven't started or completed yet. So we haven't spent those funds yet.
And we, just today, we submitted a SRF reimbursement for approximately $5 million.
Okay, and then this is where we were asking, back, I know before Ken and Lucretia were going on vacation. Can we get at our next meeting, because I don't see it here today or whatever, but some of that SRF funding was actually general fund money was used for 1 through 3A. So if we can just get a run-off of how much of that money that you applied for is going to actually go back into the general fund. Because we should at least end up with, at the end of the year, we should end up with the money that's supposed to be in the restricted funds at least. And I do understand, we do have money out. Like Abby had said, there's $1 million that we have put out for FEMA that if we did not have July 7th of last year. And I do realize that even before you got here, Michael, that, and I don't know if it continued on in the first couple of weeks or whatever, but some of the funding for the water line, whatever, was being pulled from the general fund and was not being pulled from the band note. And I believe you and Mary Ellen and Abby are working through that. Is that correct right now?
That is.
Okay. So can we just get, so we could put everybody to rest, that we ended the year with 1.5 million in? What we could have done and maybe should have done was borrow for the last year and a half or last year directly from the band note, so it wouldn't have been from the general fund. And we could have done what other towns are doing, and they borrow funds for FEMA, for the refundable FEMA money that we plan on getting in a year. We're fortunate in the town of Killington that we end the year at June 30th with $1.5 million. And we didn't borrow any money for the FEMA work. And I guess we saved some interest on that because we could have got a 1-year note. And when do you think that you, Abby, and Mary Ellen can get the $1.9 million back into the account?
So the way I understand the happening here with the finances is we withdrew our total amount that was allocated on the band, so the full 8.4, and that matures at the end of August. So whatever we get reimbursed back from SRF, it's my understanding that will have to go towards the 8.4 loan. I think, sorry, Lucretia, were you saying something?
no,
Okay. I would argue if it weren't for the surprise storm that we had in July, we would have hit right on the money with the budget and not sunk down into reserves. And I
So
have.
that's all we're asking. That's all we're asking for, Michael. Can we just get that it written out in an Excel spreadsheet or something that's showing what money is laid out. When we have Abby saying there's $1 million for FEMA that's outstanding right now, that would put us up to $2.5 million. We're still looking at 3.9, I think.
But we do have some costs that were not reimbursable, right?
Yeah. So we're still saying there's $900,000 gap.
There's still going to be, I mean, it's not 100% reimbursed by FEMA, correct?
Right. Where were we at
So
last
we
year,
got-
20%, 15, 20%?
We need
About
to
that.
do the exercise that we were asked to do before, when Ken was in the audience. We need to complete that, exercise of doing where we stand, what money's coming in. There's $8.4 million that you're saying is the ban, right? I don't think you took down the $8.4 million and put it in a bank account, Michael. I think it was done, but I'm not sure.
It was drawn on just, I think, the very beginning of July.
Okay.
We owe the 1.4, and it is due just about a month from now.
Yep.
Right. And I know that Mary Ellen and Michael are working with Community Bank, but I'll be back on Wednesday night and Thursday. We really need to do that exercise that was asked a bunch of weeks ago to find out. Because if we get $4.4 million or $5 million in and then $1 million from FEMA, you know, there's 6, okay?
Well, and
we still keep-
Got to find a way to restructure so restricted funds goes back to where it should be.
that's right.
Right?
And
So whatever that strategy looks like, because there's money flowing, right, but how do we make sure we don't get more on a band? I mean, I don't know how that works, but the strategy to get to this number is the key, and I agree with Jim on that.
We do, and then we'd have to face, so I'm going to go to this. I did like a back of the envelope. That's probably an exaggeration, but I did a back of the envelope kind of cash flow analysis, and I looked at what revenue was for FY '24 at the end of August. And we had received about $9 million in tax revenue because a lot of people pay it early.
Yeah, okay.
So we've already got tax bills coming in. So if you're talking about, if we are equal to that number, you're looking at $9 million in revenue in taxes by the end of August, or $8 million, it was somewhere around there. Then the 5.
Yeah, but Michael, that's money for July 1 of 2024 to June 30th of 2025. What we're asking for is numbers of what we spent on FEMA, what we spent on SRF that we're waiting to get reimbursed, how much of the band number when we reimburse, when are we going to get these other funds in? What we're saying is we borrowed $8.4 million in July. I don't think you started until August or September. I think it was September. So we borrowed $8.4 million in July. It's landed on your desk, Michael. We just need to sit down and go through and show how we're going to get those funds back. This is not the first time that this ever happened, because in 2011 and 2012, because of Irene, we were in this boat. I can guarantee you that Chris and Rob, I don't think you're going to take the steps of the last board that was in this, but we just keep on pushing it down. We need to figure out where we are standing on money. It's no longer a cash flow. It's what do we spend, what do we have out there, and where are we going to get it from? Where's the replacement money?
I don't know enough. I would assume money coming in is towards future budgetary. Right? So you have this perpetual gap that you will keep coming upon towards the end of the year, right? So you just want to make sure, I would have if I was looking at this in the business sense, I would separate it. And I would be looking at that as this entity, we made these expenses, we have this gap, this 1.9 million at the end of the year. We know $1 million's coming back. Is it really 900,000? How are we going to make sure that that is always funded? And that, that ceiling's always there for us.
Yeah, because we're on a downward slope.
Yep.
So you'd end up, if we carried on the way we did, then there's a high probability at the
Just
end.
goes right back
just
to, right, and
continues to do
it
that.
cycles, yeah.
And then what I was kind of alluding to, even if we solve the 8.4 band problem through early tax payments, you've still got the September $7 million payment to the state. Correct? That's in September, right? No, hold on.
December.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better. Okay. But still, when's the second? November. Okay, so we might be, okay. So it at least gives us a little time to kind of think and strategize on how to.
Once again, I don't think it's strategizing. I think it's going back in time and putting down on a piece of paper. Remember, the voters voted back 2 Marches ago for a TIF district. And in the TIF district, we said that we'd be running a negative number for a few years, perhaps 2 years.
Correct.
So we need to start putting the numbers together, and we need to start figuring out what we have to borrow to cover that stuff.
We just need to show
We
where
don't want
we
to-
went negative on it. That's basically, I think, where we're coming around to.
Yeah.
That's all.
We can go on and on here until we have like, this is much money that was spent on SRF, this is what we expect back from SRF and when. What we already received from SRF, what we expect to get from SRF. This is how much we spent out in FEMA, not FEMA, but for East Mountain Road on the flood. This is how much we received, this is how much we expect to get back. This is how much we said we were gonna be negative with the vote for TIF. So we can sit here all night long and keep on thinking, but we just need to see numbers, and we'll work it out on Thursday. I'll be back and kind of give a little direction. But we can't count on the taxes from next year to cover last year's debt, because then
That's what gets us in
that
trouble.
was my whole argument in 11 and 12 and 13 with 90% of the people in the town. You can't do that, okay? So.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to accept, even though we don't like it, the treasurer's report for the end of the year?
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I ask a question?
Can you wait until the public
Yep.
section
I
or
think
whatever
yes.
on that? Patrick?
Sure.
Okay. So the next up is the town comparative report, Michael.
So if we just went off the town comparative report, then we would not see a bad treasurer's report. All right? So these are only budgeted items. All right, this doesn't include TIF, it doesn't include FEMA. It's just what we say in March is what we're voting for. So we're at the end of July here. I mean, so this wraps up fiscal year 2024, and we haven't had our audit performed on 2024, so this hasn't been vetted from any kind of outside professional source yet. But just a kind of quick synopsis of it, we're looking at big numbers, and where I'm going to go is to the second page of the revenue report, which shows a total revenue of $6,321,408.41, which was $6,321,408. I'm in the Abbey boat tonight. Which is slightly less than we budgeted for. And then the last page, total expenditures for the year, budgeted for $6,602,254 is what we budgeted for, and the actual $6,619,297.75.
So here we go. The total revenues, guys, what we budgeted was $6,602,000. We only received in $6,321,000, so we're some $280,000 short on revenue at this time. Okay? And then on the expenses, if you go all the way down to expenses, so the last line, instead of going into each individual line or whatever,
That's right on.
you're going
So
to
it's-
see that we
The home is.
probably spent a little bit more than what we said. So,
Well, when you look at the revenue, the only part in the revenue, the difference is the carry forward balance.
Yes.
You know,
true,
everything
too.
else is to the plus side.
Correct.
So that's where the difference is.
that's not true. I mean, the short-term rentals is down, okay? It's not down from the year before, it's up.
I'm just
We're
looking
still
at this
used to that.
revenue. This revenue sheet
You
here,
know, I'm looking at the comparative report.
I was looking at page 2 only. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no,
zoning,
that's all
yep,
right.
zoning's off 20,000.
Yeah.
We're off
okay.
3,000 with police.
But you did great with interest income.
We did great on that. The treasurer, because a lot of people are paying cash for their units, so they're not getting as much money in documents being recorded. But when you look at the last page, total revenues, budgeted was $6,600,000. We
Yep.
received $6,321,000. We're about $280,000 off. So then, if you just scroll down to your expense side, I don't know what page, I'm still trying to find it on my little phone here. Okay, so we budgeted $6,600,000, because that's what we said our revenue would be. But we spent $6,619,000. So we spent $317,000 more, and we received about $280,000 less. So it's about $640,000, $650,000 that's not accounted for. So, and that's why we have to start doing that one sheet and going through. The select board has the authority to borrow up the money to carry it. And just like all the other years where you saw, Chris, where you were talking about the 327, I think, for the carry forward.
Yeah.
There are years that we'll have a negative number, and we have to make it up in the next budget. Not this one that just happened, but the following one. So when Abby says there's $1 million that's owed to us about on FEMA, and you have the 1.5, okay, there's $2.5 million that would have been in there if we didn't have to spend it on that project up on East Mountain Road that was unexpected the first week of our year that started. And if we received in more funds, that's about another $280,000, $300,000 there. You can't count the other $300,000 because we just said it was spent on FEMA. So let's just get a report going. It's the same thing as the treasurer's report. So can I get a motion to accept the end of year, June 30th, 2024 comparative
Yeah,
report?
make a motion to accept it as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up is the golf course. You go to the total purple shop, you see that they budgeted $1,118,000. I mean, $1,151,000. They actually did $1,163,000. And then if you go down to their total revenues on the next page, total with the restaurant, they budgeted $1,355,000, and they did $1,382,000. The total revenues for the restaurant, total for that. Then the expenses, you go down, they budgeted $1,293,000, and they only spent $1,163,000. They did the opposite of what the town is doing.
That's good.
They didn't have a flood.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, David.
They did.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, we also have Justin here with us from
Yes,
Green.
Justin, yes.
Yeah, he's in the room. We can stay on the comparative report if you guys have any comments, but at the last select board meeting, it was brought to our attention that we needed to do some repairs on, about $8,000 of repairs on golf carts, and that was kicked down to this meeting.
We have a motion to accept the Green Mountain National Golf Course comparative report for year end. So we already have the motion in place. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we can go to the Justin and David. We received an $8,000 bill, I guess in May, for some golf carts rentals.
I think it was last month, Jim. I think it was in June.
Okay, well, the thing that we got last week was an invoice that said May, so,
That's when the quotes were done.
okay. So the damage was done before May.
Yes. Yeah, one of the carts was last year.
Okay. How did they get damaged is what we're asking. We went through this once before, about 4 years ago, and if there's, how were the carts damaged?
Well, you've only got to drive around our property and see the availability of potential issues if people get off the cart path or, in areas where they shouldn't be. There are obviously rock issues and some low-hanging trees and whatever, and things happen on a golf course, and that's, well, two of these carts happened. That way one was a little less dramatic, but that's how it happens. We get people driving golf carts in areas where they shouldn't be.
Okay, so Justin, you were here, I think, the last time when we had this, and John was on too. I don't know if David was actually with us. I think it was the beginning. When I go play golf somewhere, I have to put my credit card up, and if I come back with a damaged card, I got to pay it.
Yeah, we used to do indemnity, but logistically, we just couldn't track it to get everyone to sign a piece of paper and then to keep those records. So, we still go after people that damage our carts, and they're usually willing to pay because they know they're in the wrong, but we don't have anything formal at any of our courses that's folks are signing. We can put something in place at Green Mountain if you'd like. I think I'd like to look into maybe an electronic some type of electronic clause, because a lot of our tee times are booked electronically. But there's nothing in place right now that folks are signing.
So Justin, we had this conversation, the board with whoever, a bunch of years ago, because we ended up having somewhere up in the same $6,000 to $8,000 worth of damage. There's nothing we're going to do right now going after people's credit cards from before May, okay? We probably don't even know who they were at the time anymore. So, Ken, we were told the last time that we would get something in place, and it was said definitely. And here we are spending $8,000 for people that are driving where they're not supposed to be driving and damaging carts, and it's taking $8,000 away from funding the golf course.
Okay, understood.
Is there any potential is there a third party that we could offer insurance to people that, for an extra $3.80 or whatever, you get coverage on your rental?
I have not seen anything like that
I know that a friend of mine owns a snowmobile company, and I know that they have that option where people you can buy coverage should anything happen while you're on the course to it, other than mechanical in nature, of course. But
yeah, even when we had people sign a document, we're still not automatically just charging a credit card. It's very difficult to get these.
How do you do it with it in other courses?
Yeah, what's common
Someone
practice?
damages a cart, we'll go to the individual and just talk to them in person and say, this is the damage, and usually they're willing to work with you because they know they're in the wrong, but at times they don't.
Did we do this here?
Did we go, I'm not sure, this was last year.
There's no way of knowing the value of the damage at the time.
But if, do you know who did the damage to the cart, David?
No, I do not.
So when a cart comes in with the roof collapsed, because they ran into a tree, we don't take down their name and say, hey, you know, this cart went out clean, and here it is.
2 of these 3 were left in the parking lot, Jim.
Well, we don't know, so
No, I'm
then-
just, yeah, 2 of these 3 were left in the parking lot. The other one the one that was with the triaxle damage, that actually ran over a rock and put a hole in the transaxle case at the back. So that cart was damaged significantly out on the golf course.
I don't know who's taking what golf carts out. I don't know. I haven't played golf in a long time, but I would take a golf cart out, I would sign, I would have to come back, I'd have to hand it in. Believe me, I've spent a few $1,000s on repairing golf carts. It doesn't sound like there's any oversight of our golf carts, that's all. But, so we also said the other day, this is more of like operational right now. So I don't know why we have to approve it. We're just here more of like, what's gonna stop this from happening? What if you had $30,000 worth of golf cart damage and nobody's looking after it?
We don't have $30,000 worth of golf cart damage, Jim.
I said what?
Yeah, but we
I said,
don't.
What if?
Okay.
So, do
What?
people still out on the golf course and with carts and the clubhouse closes?
Yeah, I mean, we have one.
Well, there's people out now, but you have cart attendants there until the last cart comes back.
Okay.
We had a club in Philly that just over the weekend, they crashed a car, they just left. They left their clubs there and they left the course, they left the golf cart on the, so.
Yeah.
In this case, they left in the
I
parking lot and left.
I can see that, like, you can't police everything, and I get that. But here, I'm kind of wondering how someone just sneaks back in with a fully damaged car, jumps in their car, leaves in the parking lot and rolls.
Yeah, I mean, in the afternoon, I mean, there's only 2 people at the golf course and, later in the evening. I don't know when exactly these happened.
Yeah.
But again, I'm telling you right now, even if you had their credit card on file, they wouldn't be paying us $5,000. We'd have to pursue some type of litigation.
Justin, gotta get the golf carts fixed so we can get money in for those golf carts and stay sitting there. So can we just get those golf carts fixed? And then can we just take the next step that people are signing for something, so whatever, so maybe we actually have a 50% chance of getting the money back? Right now, we have no chance of getting any money back.
I would agree with you, Jim. I mean, it would be nice to have some kind of a rental agreement to sign as they go out with it. But at the same time, it's like, I think too, the town managers should be aware of the fact if we have damage over a certain dollar figure done to some of our equipment, I would think we'd like to know about that sooner than later.
Yeah, no.
Is that fair, Michael?
Sure.
To you? Jim, are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And that was the intent of sending this in, was to inform you folks of what we have in the car park.
But you already told us, David, that it was done last year.
One of them was. 2 were done this year. One was done late last year in October.
Okay, so David, we're just gonna keep on getting into a worse of a conversation here with me.
Okay.
The cart, the invoice or the billing to fix a certain amount of carts was in May.
Correct, that's when we came back to operate the golf course, Jim.
So then I guess it was last year.
One of them was.
Okay.
One of those, I've got the invoices right here, the
Okay.
quotes.
So David, like I said, I think you're better off quitting while you're ahead. Because
Okay.
then 2 of them got hurt, 2 of them got damaged, the slowest month of the year in May. So let's just fix the cart and try to figure something else out better.
Yep, 2 quotes were in May, you're correct, and 1 quote was in July.
we'll get it fixed. I mean, our fleet is at a point where we have plenty of golf carts to operate, even a full course, so we haven't, left any revenue on the table, but we can get these fixed.
I think there's two things. Is there common common practice on this somewhere else? And is there some digital thing you can do?
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
I mean, those are simple things, right?
Yeah, I think the digital option is probably gonna be the most successful.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Do you guys see a lot of lost revenue in this?
A little bit. I mean, really, people don't damage carts all that often, but I mean, it happens from time to time, and Green Mountain does have a little bit more undulation than some of the courses.
Would agree.
It's a nice word.
Yes, that's very impressive undulation. I like that.
You probably meant something else.
Yeah. All right, is that
Okay, I
it?
think we.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're done.
Cool. Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, David.
All right, next up.
Yeah. Public Works.
Thank you. What's next on the agenda?
Public Works.
Public Works. Abby, you want to agree? You got a
Yeah.
copy? Okay.
And we're gonna kind of tag team it.
Oh,
It's good.
So
teamwork.
We don't want to quote you.
I don't want to talk too much and confuse you, because apparently I can't get numbers right, so. I'll let Kevin give you an update on where they're at with all the roads and all that.
So, I mean, Thunder and Brook, we're basically wrapped up with that now. We still got a little bit to do just by Mountain Meadows, which we did meet with Rob and Nikki there, and they spoke to Josh, the manager, about what we're looking to do there, which is just to get water flowing that comes out of the parking lot so it doesn't go into our roadway anymore. It actually hits the ditch that's already kind of existing in the front lawn and goes to the cross culvert, which Josh is more than happy to allow us to do that because we don't really have to take out much of lawn or anything at all. Winterberry Road, we went down through that with the grader, pulled all the shoulders in, picked it up, hauled it out, reseeded it, mulched it, so the water's actually draining off the road like it's supposed to. Winding Way, we also re-top coated the top section of that because it was pretty much a boulder field. I mean, you couldn't grade it just because of the amount of boulders, and that's all now got 12 loads of gravel on top of it, so it's about 6 inches thick. So that's in good shape now. Alpine, we just marked all that out for dig safe and center line. Moved the excavator over there today, so we're gonna start working on that. As our next project, bunch of ditching there, pulling in some shoulders. Got a few culverts to replace up on Alpine Terrace that caused us a bunch of erosion and stuff up there as well. I'll let you go with the Archie Baker.
Yeah, Archie Baker Bridge and Valley View Beaver Dam kind of put these together. These are two projects that will happen hopefully in the same day. It's finishing up the Archie Baker Bridge, which is removing some excess stone that was left when that bridge was replaced 2 years ago. Last year there was too much water in the area from all the rain and the flooding, so it's finally drained enough where they can go in and remove the excess stone that was left in the wetlands, and then they're going to take that and bring it down to the Valley View Dam. There's some riprap that was placed by Mosier a couple of years ago. Fish and Wildlife doesn't want that to remain because it's not natural to the area, so I'm going to put the wetlands material there. All of that's going to be completed by Daniel's Construction. Roadside mowing.
Roadside mowing, so Killington East is complete, the access road's been done, River Road's been done. They're currently out in North Sherburne, working on that, and then they'll be going on to Pico and then back into the basin. Grading, all the class 3 roads have been graded once now. We have been doing some touch up here and there. Ken did grade Thunder and Brook just last week again after we wrapped up that project. Class 4s, Mosier's, Craig Mosier's gonna be handling those.
The line striping, they were here 3 days last week. Pretty much just got Killington Road done. There's still East Hill, or sorry, West Hill.
West Hill, East Mountain
East
Road,
Mountain.
Schoolhouse, and River Road.
And I talked to Corey today, the line striping guy. He is planning to come back August 8th or 9th. He's away. River Road beavers, we can notch the dams now if we felt like they're impeding any of our infrastructure, roads, bridges, or culverts. They don't seem to be at this time. And then this fall, we can look at trapping beavers to help reduce the population and issues next year.
If we could kind of stay ahead of it, I think it would be better than it would be.
Yeah.
So we don't end up with another lake.
Yeah.
So if we can get someone to trap, that would be great. Thank you.
Radar signs,
I'm still working on trying to meet with Whit on that, so that way we can both go over that placement and whatnot.
Kevin did a couple of tailgate talks with the guys, the highway guys for trainings. Those are kept on file with Vermont Local Roads. Flood recovery, lots going on. So met with state and FEMA staff and talked about all of the projects that we have remaining. Some of them are not FEMA eligible, as we've discovered, and those are being removed. And those are the culvert near Skyship on East Mountain Road, as well as a landslide that happened on private property. FEMA doesn't cover, public assistance doesn't cover damages on private property. That would be individual assistance. But we are looking at hazard mitigation funding as a possibility to cover those. Replacement of culvert 19B, which is that culvert between Bear Mountain Road and Trailside Drive, which is currently fully plugged, and culvert number 2 on Trailside Drive have been advertised for bids. There's a pre-bid meeting on the 25th, with bids being due August 5th. And we included in there some special instructions about being open for the Spartan race and working with the resort to make sure the trucks can come through and get set up. Along with the hazard mitigation program, we're still working on applications for a section of road on River Road. And Will has some draft applications that I'll be looking at in the next couple of days. For TIF District, Contract 4 is out to bid. There's a pre-bid conference at 11 on July 30th here. It's not mandatory, but strongly encouraged, and then bids are due August 15th at 11. Dufresne Group has submitted 3 amendments to their contract, which we've reviewed, and actually Michael signed them on Friday. Those are an amendment to Step 2, which added services for the hydrogeologist scope of work, and to develop a source protection plan for well 3 and rewrite the source protection plan for the other permitted wells. Amendment 3.1 to Contract 4 design, which adjusted services provided by VHB as a subcontractor. And also some credits for some other work that's now under the first amendment, Amendment 1.1. And then Amendment 4.1 for Contracts 5 through 7, which is a topographical survey that Dufresne was originally going to complete, and now they are having Patton Survey complete that instead. They also are removing some permitting that will no longer be required. So it was that one was actually a decrease. And then I also reached out to Dufresne Group for some assistance in developing a water system ordinance, which is really, that needs to be in place before we can start going back out and talking to people about hooking up, just so we know what to tell them, what they need to do on their properties, what size pipe, and so on. And then for roads, of course, Phase 1B is opened with 2 gravel lanes. They're continuing to work on the edges, and we'll start working on the retaining wall soon. They'll close the road again for paving the week of August 12th, and then it will be fully reopened August 19th with a public reopening ceremony. Oh, page 3. Upcoming. We've been busy. There's still Old Coach Road to finish up that project from last fall and address stormwater issues on the upper gravel portion. And I'm looking at putting together an RFP to add gravel to portions of Thundering Brook and then the little side roads on Old Coach Road.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
On to open public comment. Don?
I would ask the Select Board to add 2 more Select Board members to the current board.
We can't do that on our own.
So
That's something we do.
Okay,
You want the select board to go to 5 members, correct?
correct.
I got voted down.
We don't have the authority to do that as select board members.
Who
The
does?
vote is voted once before.
Town meeting.
Somebody asked for 5 members like you're asking. And the vote is voted and said only 3. So if you'd like to start a petition for 5, then go ahead. And we'll put it on the next town vote.
Okay, I'll look into it then, thank you.
Okay, that's how it works, I'm
All
sorry.
right, no problem, thank you for educating me, appreciate it.
We can't up or down the number.
Okay, I have one more question. I was at the town hall last week, and with all the road work we got going on, I saw a crew of two road guys fixing a crack in the parking lot at the town hall. And I was just wondering why that crack was so important with all the other stuff going on in the town.
Those weren't highway. That was Peter and Jack. Peter, who's our facilities maintenance guy, and then Jack, who is a seasonal temporary employee.
Do they work for you guys, or they work for,
They do not work on the highway crew.
who do they report to?
Facility maintenance, so they report directly to me. So, yeah, so a parking lot repair would be within their purview.
Okay, I just thought a crack in the parking lot was kind of overkill, 2 guys.
They were actually
One
removing.
of them special needs.
Okay, I'm just saying there was 2 people there.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, one of
actually.
them- One of them needs supervision.
You know, and guys,
Sounds good.
thank you for the input, but the facilities people, they hook up the garbage from the offices, they clean the windows, they paint, they take care of stuff over at the recreation center, and, you know, I guess maybe it's not important enough for the highway guys because they weren't there, but they had some time and they filled in the cracks. But
All good.
Filling in cracks in pavement saves the pavement for the long run. And, you know, I firmly believe in it. I think we need to do more toward roads than we are right now.
I agree.
So, personally, I would applaud someone if they were sealing in the cracks to maintain that surface. West Hill Road's gonna need it desperately, and that road's not that old. And
I think
there'll be
that has
parts
to
of
be
the Killington
repaved.
Road that are gonna need it prior to us really rebuilding it, so, I just.
But Chris, I think the conversation here is that those are not the guys that do it.
Yeah, it's not,
Two people.
this is just
Well,
two.
what if I was out, what if I was out there with Chris filling in the crap? We're not highway guys, we just figured we'd fill in the crap. So the conversation is that why do we have highway guys filling in the crap at town office?
Highway guys, it's fine.
And the answer is,
They're not town highway guys. They're facilities people, and they work on buildings. And they work around the building. I think that's enough of an answer.
All right, anything else? Any other hand
Anybody else
raised,
online?
comment?
Well, Patrick's got his hand raised, but I don't know if I took it down for him or not.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Patrick Cushing. Going back to the finances that you're talking about, what does that mean for the risk landscape that the town faces with the current funds? Is this like we're at potential not being able to pay salaries? Is it we are not going to be able to meet deadlines? Or is it maybe taxes will go up in the future? And then also, how would that change if we had a near July event again this year?
So Patrick, the July event last year, no one can plan for.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're dealing with it, all right? There's a...
Right, I'm just asking what the risk landscape
Yeah,
looks
but
like.
can I finish though, okay?
Yeah, go
We're going off of the June number of June 30th that showed there was $1.5 million in the bank, okay? I believe as of yesterday, there was, on Friday, there was $2.5 million in the bank, okay? So the money that comes...
So what's the risk landscape look like? Are we in a fine spot? Or
No.
is it something I need to be concerned about?
You shouldn't be concerned about it. Okay? What we can do is we can go out and borrow the money, the $1 million right now, and then get an interest rate of 6% to wait for the FEMA money to come in, okay, and pay $60,000 over the course of the next year. Or the town is running the finances. Yeah, it may look thin, but, you know, I don't know if Lucretia is still on. I hope she is, but for many, many years, over a decade ago, this town would have borrowed the money for December to pay the school education tax of over $2.5 million because they didn't have the money to do it. We are not there. So people throwing things out right now, we are not at that spot. She is concerned. She has every right to be concerned because she's the treasurer. She's bringing it to the board's attention. Okay? The board is talking to Michael separately. Okay? And as you had heard, we're asking for information. We are not concerned at this point. Like I said, we've already grown it by $1 million. We already have money coming in for the August payment, because a lot of banks pay in July. All right? Michael, you know, it's $9 million worth. What we have to do is what we said earlier. We need to find out what money we have spent, what money is coming back, and what are we short. We know we're short 20% of everything from July 7th at this point. But the Public Works Director is going out looking for other money. She just filed some other paperwork today for other things that the state's putting out to try to help towns that are in this issue.
So
it's not a concern. There's no concern at this point.
That's what I was asking. Yeah. The risk landscape is minimal.
Minimal. The other, I would also,
I don't think there's that.
if I could just chime in, I would also say we were able to float this expense where a lot of other towns that had issues were not able to. Okay? So we have not.
None of that was my question. It's just risk, operational risk. Right now, that's not a concern.
None.
I have no concern about a risk.
No concern. Our treasurer just brought it up that our cash, of the cash depletion that we had at the end of the year, it was different from the previous year. And, you know, what circumstances that allowed that were the storm that we shouldered ourselves, okay, and also some money involved with the water situation that will be paid. So we're okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, on to executive session. Having no other. Nothing else?
What time is it?
It is 7:55.
7:55 to go into executive session, contract.